We'll begin the story with a cunning thief named Morris. He's been caught by the police for a bank robbery and is being taken to Alcatraz, the world's most secure prison, to be locked up for life. Alcatraz is a prison built on a small island in the middle of the ocean. This means that even if a prisoner breaks out of the jail, they can't escape because the water blocks their path. Because of this, the prison was considered the most secure in the world. It was home to only the world's top criminals, but soon the reputation of this prison was about to be tarnished. Frank Morris, a cunning thief who had escaped from prison many times before, had now entered this jail. This time, however, Morris was a little scared because this prison was very secure. But Morris had no intention of spending his entire life here. He wanted to escape as soon as possible. As soon as he entered the prison, Morris started thinking about escaping. After a full body check, Morris is locked in a cell. A guard comes and says to Morris, "Welcome to Alcatraz," and this is where the real story begins. Suddenly, a bell rings and the gates of all the cells open automatically. The officers call the prisoners outside. The discipline in this prison is also very strict. The prisoners have to follow the rules of cleanliness and returning to their cells on time. Everyone wears the same uniform and comes in a line to eat breakfast. A prisoner named Litmus is in front of Morris. Morris asks, "I didn't get a fork. How will I eat noodles now?" Litmus says to him, "Hey, this isn't your house. Eat what you got." Just then, a dangerous prisoner named Wolf starts taunting Morris. Every prisoner in the jail was troubled by Wolf. He did as he pleased with every prisoner and had many cases of rape against him. This prison housed one dangerous prisoner after another. Here, Litmus asks Morris for a little food, and during this time Morris gives him his plate. When Morris looks under the table, he realizes that Litmus isn't eating the food himself, but is giving it to a rat. At night, a guard takes Morris to the warden. When Morris reaches the warden's office, the warden says to Morris, "I know you are very sharp and intelligent, but what's the use of all that here? Many like you have come and gone, but no one has ever escaped from here. The prisoners here follow very strict rules. Someone can visit you only once every 2 months, and that too, only if I'm in a good mood." The warden is a very strict man who gives very harsh punishments to the prisoners for even a small mistake. The warden says, "Don't even think about escaping from here. Otherwise, you'll be torn to pieces." To which Morris replies, "No, sir. With you here, who would even think of escaping?" But in reality, from the very first day, Morris had started planning his escape. During this time, Morris seizes the opportunity and steals the warden's nail cutter. It was a very small thing, but Morris knew that in a prison like Alcatraz, even this small nail cutter could be used for a big task. As soon as Morris returns to his cell, he hides the nail cutter in a Bible. The next day in the bathroom, Wolf starts bothering Morris again. But this time, Morris wasn't going to let him go. Morris shows his true colors, grabs him, and beats him up. After beating Wolf, Morris earns a new reputation throughout the prison. Everyone starts to fear Morris. After this, Morris is given work in the library. There he meets a man named English. He is a senior prisoner of this jail. English was also sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of 2 men. He has spent half his life in this prison and knows every inch of it. He is aware of everything that happens in the jail. He even knows that Morris and Wolf had a fight that morning. He gives some books to Morris. Morris has to deliver these to every prisoner's cell. In the next scene, an open area is shown where prisoners are playing some game. Then, he meets an artist named Doc, who is painting himself. Doc is a very simple and decent person who has been serving his sentence here for many years. He was very fond of painting and spent most of his time doing so. Doc used to say that anyone could go crazy in a prison like Alcatraz, but because of his painting, his mind was still working normally. Morris asks Doc, "Why did you paint this flower in this painting? There's nothing like that on your shirt." Doc says, "This is my happiness, which is only in the painting, not in my heart." After that, when Morris looks to his right, he sees English above. Morris goes toward English. When Morris gets close to him, his followers stop Morris. Then, English signals that he's one of their own. Let him come. Morris goes and sits with him and immediately brings up what's on his mind. Morris says to him, "Will you help me escape from here?" Hearing this, English laughs. "Look, son, this is not just a jail. This is our grave. To get out of here, we have to die first. Only then can our dead body reach the graveyard from here. Even if you manage to climb these big walls and then cross the dangerous forces and with some magical power, you manage to escape from the hundreds of guards here and get out of jail, you still won't be able to escape because the ocean will block your way. So don't waste your time and quietly serve your sentence. At least you'll be alive." But Morris was firm in his resolve. He wanted to escape from this prison at all costs. That night, an officer tells Morris that he has been given carpentry work from tomorrow. He will also be paid 50 cents per hour. Morris immediately agrees to this work because he thinks that there he might find a tool that can help him in his escape. The next day, Morris asks Litmus for a way to escape from here. Litmus says, "Oh, that's very easy. Every cell has an air vent. You can reach the roof through it. Maybe you can escape from there." And with a smile, he walks away. Then Doc warns Morris that Wolf is coming towards him. Just then, Wolf comes to attack Morris with a knife. Morris wraps his coat around his hand and starts fighting with him. Just then, a guard comes to stop them, and Wolf also attacks the guard with the knife. Now the situation gets out of hand, and the guard in the watchtower starts shooting. It is then that Morris and Wolf stop fighting. Morris didn't know that there was also a guard on the watchtower. He now starts to notice every single thing about this prison. The guards take Morris and Wolf to D Block, where prisoners are tortured in the dark all night. This was a cell where no prisoner wanted to go. Before leaving, Wolf threatens Morris that his death will be at his hands. That night, Morris has to endure various tortures, due to which his condition becomes quite bad. After staying in this dark cell for 2 weeks, he is brought back to his cell, where Litmus sends Morris a note with his pet rat that says, "Welcome back, Morris." One day, a new prisoner named Charlie arrives, who is placed in a cell next to Morris. Morris and Charlie quickly become friends. Morris then introduces him to his other friends. At the same time, the warden checks every prisoner's cell without telling anyone. When he goes to Doc's cell, there are many paintings he has made. The warden is surprised that his paintings are increasing day by day. Doc had also made a painting of the warden. Seeing it, the warden starts to smile. But for some reason, the next day, the warden orders the guards to throw away all the paintings made in Doc's cell. This decision of the warden completely broke Doc from the inside, because Doc was alive only because of his painting. He loved every single painting he made because this was his only happiness here, and that too was taken away from him. Morris explains to him, "It's okay, it was just a painting, you can make more." But Doc couldn't come out of this shock. The next day, seeing him, Morris says to the guard, "Please keep an eye on Doc, he looks very upset. He might harm himself." Then the guard says to Morris, "Mind your own business." Doc is also given carpentry work with Morris. Then Doc secretly puts something in Morris's pocket. After that, he calls a guard and cuts off his 3 fingers with the axe given for carpentry and says, "I don't need these fingers with which I can't paint." Saying this, he starts screaming. Then the guards grab him and take him away. Morris sees that Doc has put the same flower in his coat with which he had made his painting. Perhaps he wanted to tell Morris that these people have snatched his happiness from him. Morris picks up Doc's severed fingers, puts them in a box, and says to the guard, "Go and give this to your warden. He will be very happy to see this." The next day, Morris is sitting in his cell. Then he sees a cockroach going inside the air vent, which makes him realize that there must be a way out from here. In the meantime, English comes and tells him that Doc cut his fingers because his permission to paint was cancelled. That's why he got fed up and cut his fingers. Hearing this, Morris gets very angry. The next day in the dining hall, the warden asks Morris why he's supporting Doc so much. He says, "It's nothing." Saying this, Morris goes back to his table and sits down. There he meets 2 brothers, John and Clarence. But Morris talks to them as if he knows them from before. John and Clarence were in Morris's gang in another jail. John now found the task of escaping from jail easy because both brothers were sharp-minded like Morris, and now these 3 started planning to escape from jail. In the afternoon, Charlie's girlfriend comes to meet him. On the other hand, English's daughter has come to meet him. As soon as English sees his daughter, tears come to his eyes because his daughter had grown up a lot in his absence, and English regrets not being able to see his daughter's childhood. On the other hand, Charlie's wife tells him that his mother is very ill, and the doctors say that she won't survive for more than a month or so. Hearing this, Charlie also starts thinking about escaping from Alcatraz, and in the meantime, a guard comes and says that the time for talking is over. Now Charlie is very upset. That night, he says to Morris that if he plans to escape from here, he should include him too. The next day, Morris, Charlie, John, and Clarence have a meeting. Then Morris tells them that the air vent of every cell opens onto the roof, and secondly, this place is in the middle of the sea, filled with salt water, due to which the walls have become weak. I have a nail cutter, and I have already started digging. If I dig a little at a time and make a small tunnel to reach the roof, then after inspecting this place, we will find out how to escape from here. John asks, "What if the guards find out at night that you are not in your cell? Won't they be suspicious?" Just then, Clarence says, "I have the solution to this problem." He says that he knows a barber here who cuts the prisoner's hair. He can supply us with hair, and using it, we can make a dummy head and lay it on the bed. After that, even if we are on the roof, having come out of the tunnel in the wall, the guards will not be suspicious because there will be fake heads on our cell beds. But the matter was still stuck there. We'll get out of jail, but how will we cross the ocean water? Morris says to John, "Look, I'll need your help with this. You work in the clothing department. There you'll find the raincoats made for those police officers. So you can steal some raincoats and give them to me. We can make a tube boat and life jackets out of them and cross the sea." Here, Charlie says, "Brother, give me some work too. I also want to help you guys." Morris says to Charlie, "When I dig the ventilation grill, you stand guard so that no guard can see us, and when you dig, I'll stand guard." Everyone likes Morris's plan, and they start working the same night. But the nail cutter was too small to dig the wall, and Morris had to exert a lot of force to use it, and he was having a lot of difficulty digging the wall. He got small injuries on his hand, but he slowly started digging the hole. The next day, at the dining table, he tells his friends that he needs a bigger tool for digging. It's very difficult to dig the wall with a nail cutter. Just then, Morris, looking at the spoon in his hand, gets an idea. He deliberately rubs the spoon on his shoe and makes it dirty. After that, Morris called the guard and said that this spoon is dirty. "Give me another spoon." The others also requested the guard to change their spoons. The guard didn't find anything wrong with it and immediately gave permission to change the spoons. After which he goes straight to the table, where another security guard is sitting on the seat. But as soon as he starts to change the spoons on the table, John distracts the guard present there with his talk. Taking advantage of this, Morris picks up 2 spoons instead of 1 and hides one in his pocket. After which he goes straight to his cell. At night, English comes to give him a book, and Morris asks if he can get any welding equipment here. English understands that Morris is still obsessed with escaping from jail. He says, "I've told you before that your efforts will be in vain because you will get caught and might even lose your life. In all these years, I have never thought of escaping because I know it's impossible. But if you're so stubborn, what can I do? Go ahead and try." But Morris is not affected by his warning. The next day, he asks Litmus for matches and says that if he helps him, he will give his share of food to his rat every day. Litmus happily accepts this deal because Litmus liked the rat very much. That same night, Litmus passes his matches to Morris. Morris takes out a handle of the nail cutter, with which he is going to make a small shovel. Then he breaks the spoon and joins it with the handle of the nail cutter. Then he lights a match and welds both of them together to prepare a sharp tool. And what's more, he starts digging around the vent. Charlie stands guard. If any guard comes that way, he will immediately whistle and signal Morris. But while standing guard, Charlie falls asleep, and a guard comes there. But luckily, just in time, English comes in between and distracts the guard, and on the other hand, listening to English's conversation. Charlie also wakes up, but in tension, he can't even whistle, after which he drops something. So Morris understands his signal and covers the vent and lies down on the bed. The guard asks, "I smell something burning here." Morris says, "So, with you here, how dare anyone smoke? I don't smell anything." The guard is also relieved that at least someone respects him. As soon as he leaves, Morris removes the concrete around the vent. But he sees that the screws are also stuck with the ventilation grill. A sharp tool will be needed to cut it. During this time, whenever Morris gets a chance to go outside, he quietly throws away the cement that came out of the grill. The next day, while doing carpentry work, he picks up a metal that is as sharp as a knife. But Charlie says to him, "How will you take it outside?" avoiding the metal detector. Morris says very confidently, "I'll handle all that." When Morris goes outside, the metal detector at the door starts ringing. Actually, Morris had brought the metal in his hand. The guard asks, "Why are you taking this?" Morris says, "Sir, I thought I'd use it to hang clothes." The guard says, "Don't get too smart," and gives it to him. Saying this, the guard takes the metal from him and lets Morris go after checking him thoroughly. But our hero is a hero. Actually, he had stolen 2 metals. He had brought one in his hand and had hidden the other in his shoes. With that sharp metal, he cuts the grill. Now it's time to make fake heads to trick the guards, for which these 4 take on their respective responsibilities. Charlie asks the guard for some paint. He tells the guard that he is fond of making art. The guard also does not refuse and brings him the paint. Morris grinds the concrete taken out of that hole to make a powder. John brings hair collected from the barber shop, and Clarence collects old books from the library. After all the stuff is collected, Morris starts making a dummy head using water and old magazines, on top of which he puts paint and fake hair to create a fake head that looks completely real. At the same time, to strengthen his plan, Morris made fake cardboard so that no one would suspect that someone had made a tunnel in the wall in front. One night, Morris decided to go up alone, for which he placed his fake skull on the bed and covered it up to his neck with a blanket. After which, he takes the fake cardboard and comes out of the tunnel. There, Morris holds the pipes and slowly climbs up to the roof. On the other hand, Charlie is standing guard outside. After reaching the roof, Morris sees that there is an iron grill, above which he cannot reach even by jumping. In the meantime, a guard comes and asks Charlie why he is painting so late at night and why his friend Morris went to sleep so early today. Charlie says, "Sir, Morris was tired from carpentry work today, so he went to sleep early." Suddenly, the guard's stick falls to the ground. While picking it up, he sees that Morris's hair looks very strange. Now Charlie starts trembling with fear that they are in trouble today. The guard puts his hand inside Morris's cell and touches his hair. So Morris asks, "What happened, sir? Are my hair so beautiful?" Luckily, just in time, Morris had come down and lay there. The next day, Morris tells his companions that there is a way on the roof, but it is tied with a grill, and that grill is at a great height. "I need help from one more companion." Then John says, "I have dug my vent completely. Tonight, I will also reach there. Both of them will open the grill together." That same night, Morris and John reach the roof through their vents. John lifts Morris, and Morris holds the grill. John sees that this iron grill is very strong and is completely welded. There is only one way to remove it, and that is to cut it with a drill machine. The next day in music class, everyone is playing their favorite instrument. Then Morris's eyes fall on a small fan kept there. Seeing it, Morris feels that he can work on it and make a drill machine. For which he says to Charlie, "You somehow hide this fan from here." Charlie easily hides this small fan in his instrument box. When Charlie comes out, the guards also check his instrument box. But they don't see the fan, and Charlie is allowed to go. As soon as Morris gets his hands on that fan, Morris starts working on it. And after many hours, Morris prepares a drill machine from that fan. That night, Morris and Charlie climb onto the roof and start cutting that iron rod with the drill machine. The sound of the drill machine was very loud, and hearing the sound of the drill, the guards start coming up. But by then, Morris cuts one rod of the grill, and the sound of drilling stops. After the drilling sound stops, the guard ignores it and goes back. Now these four had opened all their ways to escape. After which, they were going to escape from Alcatraz, the world's most secure prison, on Tuesday night, from which no one had ever escaped. The next day, they have another meeting, and that too in the movie hall, where everyone is watching a movie. Between the sound of the movie, Morris asks John and Clarence if their vent is ready, and what happened to the raincoats with which they were going to make tubes and life jackets. They tell him that everything is ready. "Our dummy head is also completely ready. Now we just have to escape." The next morning during breakfast, Morris puts the flower given by Doc on the table. When the warden sees this flower, the warden comes to their table and crushes the flower. Seeing this, Litmus gets very angry because this flower was Doc's favorite and Doc was dead. Litmus gets so angry that he attacks him, saying, "First you killed Doc, and on the other hand, you are not even sparing a small token he gave." But as soon as he attacks the warden, he suddenly gets a heart attack and falls down. Morris gets very angry at the warden, and the four decide to escape that same night. Morris is waiting for midnight so that the guard's watch becomes a little weaker, and they can easily escape. Just then, English gives him some books in Morris's cell. So Morris says, "I want to shake your hand for the last time." English understands that Morris has made a definite plan to escape from here. He quietly walks away from here. But then what happens is something Morris had not thought of at all. The warden suddenly comes to check his cell. As if someone had told him about his plan, Morris gets very scared because after months of hard work, his effort was about to go to waste. The warden ordered to check every corner of Morris's cell. The guard checks every single thing in Morris's cell. But Morris was no ordinary prisoner, that he had made a small plan. Instead, he had made a very clean and perfect plan, which not only the warden but also the warden's grandfather could not have caught. Even when the guard specifically removed a suitcase from the place where Morris had made a tunnel to escape, Morris was not caught because he had already made a fake cardboard and fitted it into the wall very meticulously. When nothing is found there, the warden and the guard leave. But the guard says that Morris and Charlie talk all night. "I smell something fishy." The warden says, "Okay, tomorrow you change Morris's cell so that they will not together and will not be able to talk." The next day at breakfast time, Wolf threatens Morris again and says to Morris that tonight will be his last night. Morris says to his companions that this idiot is right. Tonight will be my last night here. But in the afternoon, Wolf comes to attack Morris with a knife. Just then, English comes in between and grabs Wolf. Actually, English also wants to help Morris. Whether he succeeds or not, English wants to help Morris in his work. That night, Morris, John, Clarence, and Charlie decided to come out of their respective vents and meet on the roof. Here, Charlie agrees to escape with his companions. But then as soon as he reaches the cell, he gets nervous. Sitting alone in the cell, he decides not to join the plan. And his other 3 companions come out of their respective vents and reach the roof. The 3 of them wait for Charlie for a long time. But after a long time has passed, when they feel that Charlie won't come, they decide to leave Charlie and proceed. The 3 of them started moving forward according to their plan. But on the other hand, Charlie's dream of freedom was getting further away from his eyes. The 3 of them slowly started to run, hiding from the searchlight. In this way, they reach the end of the building by hiding and running. Just then, a feeling of courage comes to Charlie, who is sitting in his cell, and he also decides to escape. He comes out of his vent and reaches the roof. But now it was too late because he couldn't reach that door up there alone, meaning he lost his chance at freedom because of fear. On the other hand, the 3 of them hang from the pipes on the roof and come down to the ground and, avoiding the eyes of the security guards sitting in the tower, reach the last wall of the prison, and then the 3 of them climb the fence wall one by one and get out of the jail. Now the 3 of them run towards the seashore. Then the 3 of them take out the raincoats and start filling them with air through their mouths. It was taking them a lot of time to fill them with their mouths. But other than this, they had no other way. That's why the 3 of them put all their strength into it and somehow finally inflate the tube boat made of raincoats and put the boat in the water. In this way, these 3 escape, tarnishing the reputation of Alcatraz. The next morning, a guard is checking every cell. In the beginning, everything looks normal to the guard. But when they reach Charlie, Charlie is standing in his cell like a ghost and is taunting himself in his fart that if he had gathered a little courage last night, he might have escaped with the others. The guard asks, "Why is your friend sleeping for so long?" Saying this, he goes into Morris's cell and calls out to him. But there is no response from Morris, so the guard gets angry and opens the cell and tries to lift him by his hair. But when the guard pulls him up with force, the head falls down. Seeing this, the ground slips from under the guard's feet because Morris is no longer in the cell, but is enjoying the outside world. He had left his dummy head on the bed. After which, sirens start ringing throughout Alcatraz. The news spreads throughout the jail that some prisoners have escaped. After which, the warden starts searching for the 3 of them in every corner of the jail. When the 3 of them are not found inside the jail, the warden launches a search operation in the sea. The warden doesn't believe that the 3 of them escaped. He thinks that they must have died in the water. But deep down, the warden knew that the 3 of them were very strong. Those 3 must be breathing the air of freedom after crossing the ocean water. Officers from the headquarters are questioning the warden. Were you sleeping when the 3 of them escaped? The warden is very tense. But just then the warden finds Doc's favorite flower there. This meant that Morris also wanted to take revenge on the warden for Doc. Then, the head of the search team comes and says, "Sir, a search has been done everywhere, but their bodies have not been found." Now the warden, to save his job and his own image, tells him to write the report as he says. Write that the 3 of them tried to escape, but they drowned in the water. But no one believed the warden's words, after which Morris became famous all over the world as a genius for breaking out of Alcatraz jail. 1 year after this incident, Alcatraz jail was closed because there was no longer any guarantee that no one could escape from here. In this way, this film based on a true story ends.